Hello everyone. Thank you for joining the webinar today. I wish you all a happy new year and remember to stay safe. I see more case globally as well. So we'll wait for 1 more minute as I see people are gradually joining. Happy New Year. Same case, for this webinar, just a introduction of the background. It will be a webinar for our Wati client to give you a more understanding about the new conversation-based pricing that is introduced by WhatsApp. So for this webinar, we'll reserve more time for the Q&A session later. Meanwhile, if you have any question during my presentation, please feel free to ask in the Q&A or in the chat, okay? And mostly here today, that will be for our existing client. So at last, I will reserve around 15 to 20 minutes for the Q&A. I want to make sure that this session is as interactive as possible. And if you have any concern, I hope that I can address all of them during this webinar. If not, feel free to contact with us. I'm happy to jump on another session to assist you as well. So let's get started. I'm gonna share my screen. Right. Okay, everything. Okay, so thank you so much. As I see, some people, they may be joining late. So just a quick introduction of this webinar. For today's webinar, that will be mostly for our existing client of Wati, or for anyone that would like to understand more about the new conversation-based pricing introducing by WhatsApp, and that will be implemented in the 1st of February. Okay, and during this meeting, I will introduce the background, the concept about from message-based pricing to a conversation-based pricing, and how would this new pricing affect you, etc. And later on, I'll provide different scenarios, and it will be more interactive that to show you, excuse me, in what cases you will get charged and how you will get charged. So lastly, I will share a summary and the best practice. So the whole presentation, I will leave around 20 minutes for the Q&A session. In the meantime, if you have any question, please feel free to raise up in the chat. And in the Q&A, our team will be there to answer you by text, or for other outstanding question, we'll leave it to the Q&A session to make sure that your concern will be addressed. So first of all, for the background of this conversation-based pricing, that is driven by WhatsApp officially. So that actually affects everyone in the world that is using the official WhatsApp API, which including our Wati clients as well, or our gateway API user. And for this pricing update, that will be effective from 1st of February, which is next month, and that will be applicable globally for all the WhatsApp API users. And during this conversation-based pricing, so I guess all of you have received the new pricing model. Oh, I'm not sharing the correct screen, sorry. Yeah. So I guess some of you have seen this document that we have shared before about the new pricing model. So in this webinar, I'm going to use some of the screenshot from this document as well to make sure that you can easily find the information in the same PDF as well. And let's come back here. Yeah, so as you understand, there will be two different types of conversation, which is the user initiate and the business initiate side. However, for the template message approval, the same process will still apply. You will still go to Wati, the broadcast page, to create a new template and get the approval for WhatsApp. And then you will be able to send out the template in the business initiate conversation. Later on, I'll explain a bit more about the conversation type, but the template approval process remains unchanged. And in the new pricing, all the client will be all the new client that will be billing in a prepaid credit basis with a minimum deposit of $10 in their account. So that will be, the background to start with. So let's get started on the concept. In the past, we are charging based on the message-based model. There are two types of messages, which is the template message and the customer support message, which is the session message during the customer support conversation of 24 hours. And now we are going to forget this message-based pricing model. Everything will be in a conversation-based charging model. And there will be having two types of conversation. One is the business initiate conversation. Another type will be a user initiate conversation. So there are a few important concepts here. First of all the conversation will have 24 hours in a conversation, okay? That will be depending from the first message sending from the business to the user in the business initiate conversation, and how it works for the conversation to get start counting. Okay, so let's take a step back. If you're using Wati, that means you're using the WhatsApp API services as a business. So for the message from your end, from your Wati account to your user, this is the template message that you will need to trigger and get approved by WhatsApp. And that will be the business initiate conversation, as it is from your end as a business number sending to the end client. That is a business initiate conversation. And how the 24 hours conversation is start is from the first message that you are sending out to a user. I'll give you an example. For example, just now you received a message from Wati about the webinar reminder. If I send out a message starting from February, if I send a message as a webinar reminder to you, that means the business initiate conversation start from that moment that I sent you the webinar reminder. So that will be the case of the business initiate conversation. And starting from the point I send you the webinar reminder, that will have a 24 hours counting of my business initiate conversation. And during that conversation time of that 24 hours, I can send you another template messages. For example, I can send you another message, say after this webinar, if I would like to send a follow-up message, or I would like to send you the presentation deck from my end as a template message to you within 24 hours, that will be the second template message in the past. But since it is within 24 hours in a conversation concept, therefore, it will be still the same business initiate conversation. In that sense, one business initiate conversation can have multiple template messages or even back and forth conversation. It will have a hard start and hard stop for the 24 hours. If you receive a message at 2 p.m. for my conversation reminder, the conversation will stop at tomorrow, 2 p.m. That is the exact 24 hours of hard start and hard stop of my business initial conversation. Okay, so I hope this business initiate conversation concept is clear to you. So the second part will be the user initiate conversation. How it works, as I mentioned, there will be the Wati number, the WhatsApp API number, and the end user number, which is your client. If it is a message sending from your client to you, say if I would like to ask about the product, do you still have stock for this handbag in pink color? For example, someone asks about the stock to your Wati number. Then when you reply to your client message, that will start the user initiate conversation. That may be a bit complicated here. I'll give you an example. So say if you have a question as our Wati client about the business initiate, about the conversation-based pricing. So you ask from your number to our Wati support number, hi, Crystal, I would like to understand how the conversation pricing work. Okay, say if you send me this message at 1 p.m., then imagine there's no bot reply, there's no human reply. until 3 p.m. So me as a human agent, Crystal, I reply to you, yes, you can take a look here for our webinar, or like, for our video, for our PDF, for example. So I reply to you at 3 p.m. to your message at 1 p.m. The user initiate conversation will start at 3 p.m. based on the reply of the business, okay, regarding the support and generate with the responses from the business, okay? So therefore, how the user initiate conversation start, same case, hard start and hard stop for 24 hours, but the 24 hours will only start when the businesses reply to the client, okay? So that will be the main type, two types of conversation in a conversation-based pricing. Business initiate conversation, starting from the template message that the business sent to the user. And the user initiate conversation will start from the reply from the businesses to the user, okay? But remember, you cannot reply the client after 24 hours, that you would need to use the business initiate conversation, which is a template message instead, okay? Remember to reply your client within 24 hours, okay? So I hope this is clear for everyone of these two main types of conversation type that will be the future charging model. So for the next part, after we're understanding what are the types of conversation-based pricing, I would like to give you an introduction how it will affect the Wati pricing. So first of all, if you have seen from the PDF that we have shared with all of you, the current pricing, the subscription-wise, the cost will remain unchanged. So the monthly cost will still remain as $49, and the new pricing, under new pricing, the subscription fee remains unchanged. However, in the past, since we include 15,000 free message on the customer support message and 50,000 for the annual cost, and the new pricing, it will all change to 1,000 conversation, okay? These two conversation, let me remind you again, that can be business initiate conversation or user initiate conversation. So no matter what happens, the first 1,000 conversation will be free of charge. That will be included in our subscription fee. And it will be a free conversation per WABA. And for all the additional conversation in the past, it will be 0.005 per message. And for now, the session message will change to the user initiated message, which is a conversation within between you and the user. And all the template message, that will be in the sense of the business initiated conversation. Okay, so in the PDF, you already have the pricing link. So do take a look there. That varies by every country. And therefore, in the new pricing structure, as a summary here, that will be in the past, the subscription fee, that is a fixed cost every month. And in the past, the usage fee, that will mainly be the template message plus the session message. And now that will be subscription fee as a fixed cost, and the number of business initiate conversation plus the number of user initiate conversation. And this will be after the free limit of 1,000 conversation per WAPA. Okay, so just like a quick note here, it will be starting from 1st of February, your subscription plan that will changing from including a certain amount of session message to 1,000 conversation. And as a reminder, one conversation will be 24 hours. Okay, so bear in mind of these changes. Subscription fee wise, we do not have any changes. So for the new conversation, that really depends on your usage side for your number usage. And for the CBP, how would you affect you as a Wati client? So apart from the subscription fee part remain unchanged, if you're sending a lot of template messages, if you're sending more outbound messages, so that will actually be beneficial to you, because as I mentioned, since the business initiate conversation have a 24-hour conversation session. Therefore, if you're sending multiple broadcast messages, within 24 hours, you will now be paying only one conversation, even if you are sending multiple template messages within 24 hours. And for other cases, if you're sending infrequent notification, you will still be charging based on the business initiate conversation for each business initiate conversation that you have initiated with the template message. And lastly, for the customer support use case that you're responding to the incoming messages, you will only be charged if you're replying to that client. So for the customer support side, you will be charged for the incoming user initiate messages. Okay, so that will be some kind of like use case that you will be charged on based on the new conversation-based pricing. And I have in this after this webinar, the links and material will be shared with you. This presentation will be shared with you. So I include the explainer here that is already shared before in December. And we have a new Help Center article about the conversational-based pricing as well, and also with the update of the pricing. So later on, if you would like to refer back to the material, you can go to this page and find the links here. So I have been using some time for explaining about the concept of the conversation-based pricing. And now I would like to have an interactive session with you about the scenarios. So in these upcoming scenarios, there will be different cases that we can do an interactive poll together. Let me launch it right now. So we will have in total 7 scenarios. Do not answer right now. I will go for one by one that you can vote for the answer that you think of. Like how would you think in that case will be charged for you? So first of all, this is scenario 1. Okay. If you confirm about the charges here, you can start voting for scenario 1. So this is in a case from commercial air that is sending to one of their passenger and about the flight detail. And you can take a look on the time that commercial air is sending to the end client. So please feel free to vote for that. What do you think? Please press on the vote. What do you think that will be charges? Will it be charged for 1 business initiate conversation, 2 initiate conversation, or user initiate conversation, etc.? Okay, so feel free to take for the first scenario 1. I'll give you 15 seconds here to take a look of this use case. And of course, after this, I'll have explanations on that. At the same time, if you have any question, leave it in the Q&A first or in the chat. Our team will help to answer you, or alternatively, we will have the Q&A session later on after this scenario quiz. Okay, so I see there are people starting to vote for different use cases. So the answer is, for this use case, commercial air will be charged for 1 business initiate conversation. Although you see that there are 2 messages here, 2 template messages here. However, it is sent within 24 hours. So it starts from hard start, 1:05 p.m. And the session, the business initiate conversation should be ending at 1 p.m., 1:05 p.m. tomorrow, the next day. Therefore, in this use case, it will only be charged for a single 24-hour conversation, which is 1 business initiate conversation for commercial air. Okay, so we are going to the next use case. Don't worry, we are going to send you this presentation after, so you can take a further look on different scenario. So for the next use case, scenario 2, same case with commercial air. So Anne, as the end user, they have a question about the flight, about the reservation. And commercial air has replied about that. And it's like a conversation between commercial air and the end user. So for this case, scenario 2, what do you think commercial air will be charged in that sense? I'll give you around 10 seconds to vote for the answer of scenario 2. Okay, so I'll announce the answer now. In this case, commercial air will be charged for one user initiate conversation. As you can see here, and as a user, they asked about the reservation at 109. However, the business will not get charged of user initiate conversation until they respond to the user initiate message. Therefore, they will be charged for one user initiate conversation starting from 3:30 p.m. And this user initiate conversation will start from 3:30 until tomorrow, 3:30. Okay, so that will be a customer care, a general support for the user initiate conversation for 24 hours. That will be only one conversation here. Okay, good job, guys. And next one. For scenario 3. Okay, so this is like Uptown Cosmetic, and it's now sending a message to Anne, our virtual end client. So let's take a look of how many conversation, is it like business or user initiate conversation that will be charged. I'll give you 10 to 15 seconds on this to take a look on the time and also the where the message is starting from. Okay, so in this case, Uptown Cosmetic will pay for one business initiate conversation. As a lot of you are familiar, okay, so you see the buttons here. This is a template message, and it is initiated by Uptown Cosmetic. It's standing from there. So it will be a business initiate conversation, and Anne should reply to the message in 24 hours. Okay, and then later on, the Uptown Cosmetic, they reply to the message as well. So it is a case with a business initiate conversation with the user reply. And therefore, the Uptown Cosmetic, they will be charged for one business initiate conversation. As you can see, there are like, more detailed explanations that we type here. So when a customer place an order that actually trigger this message with a business initiate conversation, and later on, there is a customer replying to the message here. Oh, sorry, I should have a typo here. It should be a new reply conversation because of the time here. There, I should have like a timestamp here for the next day. Sorry about that. I'm going to change it when I send it to you in the PDF format. Okay, I'm sorry for the confusion. Right. If it's all clear here, I will jump to scenario 4. Oh. Scenario 4, which is with cakes, which is a shoe store. So now, as you can see here, there are a few message exchange. Here is like, some hints for you, some interesting one. There is a timestamp for today. Okay. So take a look of the message exchange here and see how the messages will be charged in that sense for cakes. Okay, if you guys are voting for scenario 4. Okay, so for this scenario 4, cake will be paid for one user initiate conversation and one business initiate conversation. I see a lot of you actually get the answer right. That is good. So first of all, as I mentioned, whenever it's from the user side, that is likely a user initiate conversation. So the user reach out to Kate at 1:13, and basically Kate's reply right away. So this is when the conversation start at 1:13, and it will last. This user initiate conversation that will last for 24 hours. hard start and hard stop for 24 hours. Okay. And for the next message, it is like a shipping confirmation from Kicks. So it is like a template message trigger from the Kicks die. And it is already past 1:13. And therefore, it will be another conversation started. And in that case, for this, we will have these first 3 message as the first 24 hours user initiate conversation. And this white message below, get excited, this message as a shipping confirmation, that will be the new business initiate conversation from Kicks. Okay, so therefore, there will be 2 different conversation, one business initiate and one user initiate conversation. For scenario 5, we are seeing some familiar name, Wati here. So let's take a look on the conversation, on the messages here. For scenario 5, how would this get charged? How would this how would Wati get charged of this conversation? So as you can see, there are 2 messages here. However, that is within 24 hours. Therefore, it will only be charged 1 business initiate conversation for this case. Okay, so there's a good thing if you're following up with your user, or same case for webinar. If I send you a webinar confirmation, reminder, and also follow-up message, 3 messages within 24 hours, that will only be charged of 1 business initiate conversation. Okay, so 2 more cases here. For scenario 6, there are multiple message exchange here. So take a look and see whether it will be charged from business initiate conversation or user initiate conversation, and how many of them will be charged. So in this scenario, even with the customer reply, it will still be 1 business initiated message only. As you can see here, Wati, we have triggered the first template at 8 p.m. and the client reply at 8:10. And then the client actually used the code to make a purchase. So there is an order number triggered from the system at 11 something. And the order is already on the way within 24 hours. So it's like, next morning at 10. So everything, so the business initiate message started from 8 p.m. at night. And within 24 hours, all this conversation happened within 24 hours. And therefore, it will be charged for 1 business initiate conversation only. Okay. So last scenario here. Scenario 7, please take a look, and then we'll be able to finish the last question of the poll. Okay, so with this field message exchange here, it will be charged for 2 user initiate conversation. As you can see here, for the first message, it is from 1 p.m. and there is like a few message exchange from Wati and the user. And the user actually reach out again on the next day after the user initiate conversation start at 1:30. So for the first day, it will start from 1:30 to next day 1:30. And if the user reach out again after 1:30 on the next day, that will be the second user initiate conversation in this sense. Therefore, Wati will get charged for 2 user initiate conversation. Okay, so here comes to the end of the scenario. As a summary, so I see a lot of you have already got the answer right about the user initiate message and business initiate message and how it will get charged. So in short, the business user will be charged based on a 24 hours window count as 1 conversation. And for the business initiate conversation, it will start from the first message delivered by the business, which is a template that you trigger to your user. And for the user initiated conversation, that will be starting from the first reply from the business to a user initiated conversation. And the conversation, the cost of conversation varies by country. Same as the template message cost and the rate, that depends on different countries. So if you would like to estimate the cost and everything, please click on the link in the PDF. So you will go to the pricing page of the conversation-based pricing. And just bear in mind that everything will have a hard start and hard stop of 24 hours. No matter how many messages you exchange with that 24 hours, that will only be counted as one conversation. And here I would like to give you some best practice to get the most from CBP. First of all, if you're using more for the template message type, in the past, you're paying for each and every template messages. In this case, in the new conversation-based pricing, you are only paying for one conversation, no matter how many template messages you send during the conversation session. So I'll give you an example. Let's take this webinar as an example. If I have a webinar at 3 p.m., so I can send a webinar reminder the day before, say 5 p.m. the day before, to tell you, okay, I have a webinar tomorrow, remember to join, something like this. And the webinar reminder 30 minutes before, which if I start from 3 p.m., then I can send at 2:30, similar as the reminder that we have sent to all of you. And lastly, webinar follow-up message with a PDF of the deck. For example, what I'm going to send you as well for this webinar. So in this case, if I send the first message at 5 p.m., I will have a business initiate conversation starting from 5 p.m. and ending on the next day at 5 p.m. So these three message type that I sent to as a reminder and also a follow-up message, all this template message will only be counted as one business initiate conversation. So that is particularly useful if you're doing some order follow-up, reminder, confirmation, etc. Okay, so we can make use of this to create more different template message to engage with the end client. So the second case is for support perspective, that actually encourage user to follow up with the client in a timely manner. And you can exchange as many messages as you want during the 24 hours to support your client in a 24-hour session. So in that sense, they can actually increase the support time that can support your client timely. And also within the session, you can give as much information as you can because all the messages will not be counted on the message base, but it will be only count in one user initiated conversation. So that will be the case for these two types of conversation-based pricing. I would like to give you the last tips. Okay, important tips here. As I mentioned, all the conversation will have a hard start and hard stop for 24 hours. And for 24 hours period, you're only charging for one type of conversation, right? In short, you will only have maximum 30 or 31 conversation, depends on the calendar month, with one contact. Say if I am talking to the client end here with different topics. So for 1 month, the maximum conversation that I will pay for per user per contact will be only 31 conversation if it's a 31 days calendar month. Okay, so it will be easier for you to do the cost estimation for your user, and you can estimate how many conversation you will be mostly charged for that month, instead of the message that is hard for you to actually estimate the cost of that. Okay. So yeah, now it will come to the Q&A session. I see that our team has been helping on different answers. So let me now take a look on different question. Okay. So for reseller, if you affiliate with Wati, all of this will be shown in the dashboard. okay, of the Wati dashboard. So you can see with multiple accounts, you can log into the certain Wati URL to track the usage of the new message type. And sorry, I have seen a lot of chat and Q&A. What report you provide to me to check the spend on the conversation? And the annual plan, is it 1,000 per month or one? For the free tier conversation, the 1,000 conversation per WAPA, it will be per month. Just 1 second. I see that some of you are curious about the new dashboard. So I'll jump a bit to the update and then I'll come back to the Q&A. Do let me know if you have questions. Please type in the Q&A. So I'll get back to you later. So for Wati updates, I would like to share with you that we have launched our new Google extension, which is the Google Sheet automation. In short, what if you have a new entry or update on the column or like on the row, it can send an automated WhatsApp template message to your end user. So do take a look on the new YouTube video that we have update about this new extension that is free. Okay, so you can simply go to the Google Workplace, I think that's the name, to download this extension and then start using it and trigger automated message from the Google spreadsheet. So this is a QR code. If you're interested, go to YouTube to take a look more on how you can use this. And secondly, will be the new user interface. So one of you have asked me in the Q&A, how can I see it from the dashboard, the how many message I've been using, how would I get charged? So we'll have the new interface, and we have, so in the past, you will see an interface like this. You have the dashboard and you can track the message right here. And in the new user interface, on the top corner, you will see the free conversation that you have. So it's counting from 1,000, and you have, as I mentioned, $10 deposit in the account. So you will see the balance as well, and you can always buy credit from here. And in the dashboard, you'll be able to see in the past the conversation that will be based on support message and template message. And now in the upcoming new update on the interface that will be live in February as well, for this new UI, you have a dashboard for business initiate conversation and user initiate conversation. So you will have a full clarity on the statistic about your account. So the conversation of your account, how you will get charged, how many free conversation you still have, all of this, you will have a full clarity on the report basis on the dashboard, okay? And for the new interface, I can show you a little bit more. So we will have update on all the tab as well, all the use case. So for example, in the broadcast part, yeah, I think there's some issue with my login. Yeah, so for this, you will have a new update of the interface, and also for the automation page, all of this will change to a new user interface. But mainly for the dashboard part, you will have the clarity on the message type that you have been using and the number of total message, conversation that you have as well. So let's come back. Ooh, where's my PowerPoint? Yeah. So let's get back to the Q&A part. The report one we have answered. And then, yeah, 1,000 conversation that will be per month based per WAPA. And if you're just the API user, then I think, Sophia, for the API user, do we have a dashboard, or that will be generated from our invoice? We can get back.
Generated from our invoice.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, for the API trigger wise, that we need to track from the invoice part. Thank you so much. And sorry, let me check the question one by one. Yes, no matter if you're using Wati CRM or the Gateway API plan, the 1,000 free message, free conversation, that will be applicable to you as well. So for other pricing us for certain volume, please message us and let us know. You can reach us at hello@wati.io if you're sending like a huge volume of the message. 1,000 message cross after pay amount. So for the payment, for the cost of that, for the cost of the new message here, we have the new pricing on our support center. So later on, I will share the link. You will be able to see the pricing based on different countries. Can you have multiple users in the case of API? Yes, that you can link the API to your own webhook, and from your webhook, you can have multiple users from that webhook. Or if you're using Wati CRM, so Wati CRM will be the webhook that you can have multiple users to support in the Wati CRM platform. I hope this answers your question. And the advantage of using Wati versus the normal free WhatsApp messages. So in short, Wati, which is the WhatsApp API, is like a completely different commercial tool compared to the mobile app. Imagine if you're using a huge volume, if you're handling a lot of users, it's impossible for you to only use one phone to support your client, right? And also with the API, you can do different integration. So there's the Wati page. In Wati, apart from what I've mentioned before, that can have multiple users supporting the same number, that can allow you to send massive broadcast message and also work on different automation. There are also a lot of integration that you can link to with your CRM and also e-commerce space. So the idea of this is to automate your WhatsApp channel, providing more customer support to your client in a more timely manner and handle a bigger volume of your client. So it's more like a scalable options of WhatsApp for company use, if that answers your question. Okay, next question. Yes, so there's a client asking if they do not reply to a conversation initiated by user, then you will not get charged. As long as you don't answer to that to the user, then the user initiate conversation will not be charged on that sense. What will be the charges after 1,000 conversation? As I mentioned, that will be on the list. So I'll share the link later on because that depends on which country that you're asking for. Yep. More question about the rate. So that will be, I will send you the email with the pricing link so you can check on that one. Okay, so some of you would like to confirm the prices. So this PDF has already been shared with all of you in December. So you can see more detail here. And at the same time, for the charges, the subscription fee remains unchanged, okay? For India, it's like 39.2. For our global pricing, it would be $49 US. And for the pricing, with the fixed subscription fee, it will change to business initiate conversation and the user initiate conversation. And the cost will be depending on the country that you're sending to. So the cost will be already in this link that later on I'll share in the email. How can you deal with spam messages from user if you have auto reply bot? Unfortunately, for this case, none of the WhatsApp number can prevent the spam before they actually receive the spam, right? So what you can do in Wati, you can block that user. Let me come back here. And the teaming box, for example, you can mark it as spam and block for the user. Okay, so that will be the case that you can handle the spam messages. Some people ask, you're not able to view the new dashboard. So the new user interface will be available in the on 1st of February. So currently it is not updated yet because it is still using the template message-based model. But once the pricing is updating, we will have the new dashboard for you to track on your usage on the conversation-based pricing. Yeah, so for the Facebook action button for this one, that will also count in the 1,000 message fee free tier. And do we offer any white label reseller service? So we do not provide any white label of Wati. Thank you. And how can you set up a daily automated message to your content? So for this case, you will need to make use of the API to trigger the message automatically to your client. So once you have create a template message, then you can use the API here to trigger your message to your client. One user asked, what is a WABA? So WABA means your WhatsApp business account. So essentially, if I'm Wati, then I will have the WhatsApp business account of Wati, and under this WhatsApp business account, I can have multiple numbers. Okay, so WABA, WhatsApp business account, basically means your company on WhatsApp. Is there limit to flow message as well? No. So flow message will be considered as the messages within the user initiate conversation. So the automated message, flow message, or like agent reply, human reply, as a conversation with your client, that will be user initiate conversation. That will be the messages within the conversation. So for the Google Sheet integration, please let us know by email. For the integration part, we will have our technical team to assist you and respond to you on that. But that will be like a free Google extension that you can install right away, starting from today. It is already launched. What is the difference between WABA and Wati? So Wati, each Wati is per number here, and the WABA can include different numbers, okay? So for example, this number here, 5571, is one Wati number, one Wati account. And Wati can have multiple number. Wati can have, Wati as a company, that is like one WABA, one WhatsApp business account, and under Wati's WhatsApp business account, WABA, that can have different phone numbers under it. So let's say, don't take Wati as an example. Let's say Bank of India. Bank of India can have one verified WhatsApp business account, WABA. And under Bank of India, they can have their retail bank, department, private bank, commercial bank, customer support, sales department. So all this department, they can have 5 numbers, 5 different numbers. They will use 5 different Watis for each of their number. And all this 5 number is under Bank of India's WABA. Okay, so I hope this is like a clear example for you. If a conversation is still in 24 hours, send another template message. Yes, so if a conversation is still in the 24 hours conversation, and if you send another template message, that will still be counting under this conversation. That will not have an extra charge of the template you send out because it is now based on the conversation, not the template. Next question. Do you have plan to offer white label reseller service? So that is not in our near future. We do not white label Wati at the moment. So are you saying if I pay $1 for business initiation conversation, so like that cost is like imaginary. There's an example. You can send infinite message to your customer in the 24 hours window and only be charged once. Yes, in that sense, correct. So if you pay for one business initiate conversation, you can send unlimited message within 24 hours. However, do bear in mind that the quality of the conversation, the quality of the message matter as well. So there's a chance that your client, if you're sending too many messages to spam them, your client can report you. And here on the in the Wati side, you will see that the quality status that will change if someone report you or block you. That will change your quality status, and your number may be restricted because of that, or even get banned by WhatsApp. So yeah, actually that for some cases that will be great because now you are building a lot for the template messages, and in the future, for each user, each contact you're sending to, maximum per month, you only be billed for 30 or 31 based on the calendar month for each contact for the conversation. Where can you find how much you get charged for the messages if I'm subscribed to API gateway? So that will be clearly shown in the invoice by the end of the month if you're using the gateway solution, or you can track it with your API as well. Can we disable reply from customer? Unfortunately, there's no way to disable reply from customer. Similar case as the email, right? There are a lot of email that's only for outbound. It's like no hyphen reply at a company, but still you can reply to those email, but just that no one will answer. So in short, there's like, there's no way to prevent people to send message to you, but you can configure your bot not to reply a certain message or only reply to a certain keyword. So say if you can send them as a template, a certain keyword button, then once they click on the button, and then it will have a corresponding auto response. However, for any incoming message, unfortunately, we cannot block that. We cannot block any incoming messages. How can we use the webhook? So for the webhook part, unfortunately, we will not be explaining this webinar in this Q&A, but we do have the help center of Wati that can give you more guideline on the webhook. And also in the documentation, in the Wati documentation, you will be able to find the documentation for the webhook as well. So you'll be able to take a look here for our documentation and also help center. So there are different use cases asked by client. So if a business have 24 hours conversation consisting, maybe one template and 20 session messages. So in this case, it depends on what is the start of the conversation. If it's starting from the business side, they initiate a template to the user, then it will start that 24 hours as a business initiate conversation. If the conversation is started from the user side first, then the next 24 hours, everything will be in the user initiate conversation if the business replied to them. Okay, so it really depends on who is the one triggering the first message. And case 2. So again, how the business initiate conversation, user initiate conversation be determined will be the first message of that period. Like, that is like, depends on which side that's triggering from. If it's like first message from the business side, then the whole 24 hours following up, that will be all business initiate conversation. That will be one business initiate conversation. So even if they have a ongoing communication, exchange of message inside, that will still be business initiate conversation, because the first message that start the conversation is a business initiate conversation, which is a template. I hope this part is clear. Well, there's a charge difference. So for the charge difference, we will send you the pricing link because that varies by country. So on the exact pricing, we will send you the link to show you different pricing. So we are going to send you a follow-up message by email and with this presentation that I have going through today, so you can see different scenario as well. So another clarification here. If I initiate a template message and my customer replies, so I'll be charged once for business initiate conversation. Yes, that is the correct case. If you initiate a template message, and even if your client reply, because you initiate the message first, right? You have a business initiate conversation. So in the next 24 hours, there would just be one business initiate conversation. Correct case. After 24 hours, if I send 20 message to one number, then it will be charged. So if you are sending 20 messages to one number, so I assume that for the first message of that 20 message that you're sending to, that will already open a 24-hour business initiate conversation. In that case, you will only be charged one business initiate conversation. That is correct. So do we have more questions on the Q&A? If you have more questions, please feel free to type in the Q&A tab. And don't worry about the pricing link and everything. That all the presentation, the recording of this webinar, and also the pricing link will be shared with you after this meeting in one email. So don't worry about this. And more question coming up. So if the customer reply you after 24 hours of your business initiate conversation, then it will become a user initiate conversation because it's after 24 hours, right? Then it will be a new user initiate conversation post 24 hours of that business initiate conversation ends. Okay. Can we change the annual plan to 2003 conversation? So unfortunately, that cannot be changed at the moment. We are following the updates on the usage of the WhatsApp changes. So for now, that is like, the fix of the pricing and of the subscription fee at the moment. What is the name of the Google Sheet extension? So for this one, I'll include in the PowerPoint as well. So you will have the link to install the extension as well. Oh, some people of you see the new extension, sorry, not extension, new integration that we have, which is the HubSpot integration. So yeah, we do have the HubSpot contact integration. Feel free to take a look now. It is already in your Wati, actually. So you can go to the HubSpot integration. And if you need more guideline on installing this HubSpot integration, you can go to our Hub Center to see the step-by-step guide to link your HubSpot with Wati. And therefore, you will be able to link your HubSpot to the team inbox as well with the HubSpot contact. how much broadcast message in a day? That will be the same, different tier. So you'll be able to send to 1,000 contact per day in tier 1, 10,000 in tier 2, 100,000 in tier 3, and going forward, tier 4 will be unlimited. So the tier limit, that will remain the same. So another questions about this, if I send multiple messages after 24 hours and the customer does not reply, so it close, how will I get charged? Okay, so say if you have sent multiple message after 24 hours, I assume that 24 hours is like, from the last conversation. So if it's a new 24 hours conversation, if you trigger the message again, you will be charged for one business initiate conversation for the next 24 hours. So I hope you understand that, like, for the business initiate conversation, say I'm Crystal and I'm talking to Wati. If I'm talking to Wati continuously for one whole month, nonstop, maximum number of conversation I will get, Wati will get charged will be 31 maximum for the 31 days calendar month. Okay, if that makes sense to you, because the conversation will have a hot start and hot stop for 24 hours, and therefore it will be like a only maximum 31 conversations in total that you Wati will be charged because of the conversation with Crystal in that sense. So yes, we do charge on top of the WhatsApp rate for the conversation as well. So unfortunately, again, for the message included in the monthly plan and the annual plan, currently it is fixed for 1,000 conversation. So mainly for now, like, the annual plan and the monthly plan, the cost will be the major difference, because the monthly plan that is 20% higher with the annual plan. So another question, if I send WhatsApp broadcast for over 9K customer, how would it be charged? So for example, if I will need to send 9K message or like the 9K customer per month, that 1,000 conversation will be covered for the first 1,000 of the client, and the rest of 8,000 will be covered either with the user initiate or business initiate conversation. That is correct. One lakh broadcast message. So again, that you will need to refer to the pricing link that we are sending to you, so you can have a better calculation and estimation of your cost per month. Yes, so for the tier limit, how you can upgrade to the next tier? Let me, for the message limit, how you can upgrade to the next tier. If you're on tier 1, so you just need to send 2K messages in 7 days, you will be able to upgrade to tier 2. Same case from tier 2 to tier 3. If you send 20K in 7 days, then you will be able to upgrade to tier 3. Yeah, so for the free message on the annual plan and the monthly plan, that will be 1,000 messages. However, the cost wise will be different. For the business initiated message, if the receiver didn't reply, will it be charged? Yes, that will still be charged. Same case as as you initiate a template message before. For the outbound message, that will be charged as the business initiate conversation. That will still be charged. If I send some message to a client, so I assume that the business initiate conversation, he respond after 24 hours. What message will be charged? So first of all, that's a tricky case. If you are sending message to a client, first of all, you will be charged with the business initiate conversation. Secondly, if your client reply after 24 hours, that depends if you reply back to them. If you reply back to them, that will be a user initiate conversation. If your client respond to you and you do not reply anything, then you will only be charged for the business initiate conversation. Tier upgrade is free. Yes, the tier upgrade is free. As long as you send enough amount, you'll be automatically upgrade to the next tier. That is correct. So you're only just paying for the conversation fee for the messages, and you will not need to pay for any fee for upgrading to the next tier. Let's say 30 conversations have been started in a month by one customer. Would it be count as one conversation or 30 conversation? That would be 30 conversation because one conversation will be 24 hours, right? So after that one, it will be like the next conversation. In that sense, 30 conversation, that means you have 30, 24 hours in a month, and you're paying for 30, say user initiate conversation if the customer keep reaching out to you. So for all the by the way, I see some of you ask for all the Google extension, those part that you can download from the Google Workplace, that is the extension marketplace for Google Sheets, that will all be free of charge. Later on, I may have another webinar that is more about the Google extension that we have, how you can integrate with Wati, what will be the best use case for that. I may have another webinar on this. So yeah, if you have any question about it, please feel free to reach out to us at hello@wati.io. We are happy to assist you with any Wati function, and also all the use cases that that you may have, or any questions that you have with this. What is the tier thing? So for the tier that I'm showing you here is the number of outbound message that you can send per day. The conversation, the template message that you can send to user. So one client asked, if I have one business initiate conversation and one user initiate conversation with the same content within 24 hours, so this is not possible. In 24 hours, you will be charged either one business initiate conversation or user initiate conversation. And how it will be determined between user and business, it depends on the first message that start the conversation. So you will either with one user be charged as a business initiate conversation or a user initiate conversation. So that case will not be possible. You'll only be charged one type in 24 hours. So some of you mentioned about the pricing. At the moment, we are still running this based on the WhatsApp pricing. So unfortunately, we may not have change before February at the moment. Where to subscribe for a future session like this? I did not get your email. So for applying for the session in the future, you can apply through the Wati, or message us at hello@wati.io. Then you can keep updated from our future webinar. We can add you to the email list. Does broadcast message have the unsubscribe button? That's a great question. So broadcast message itself, they do not have unsubscribe button on their own, but you can create one in your own template message that you can add a button as an unsubscribe text here. And then you can create a keyword with unsubscribe. And then you can update the contact attribute to unsubscribe. So that is possible to unsubscribe for Wati. Sorry, not Wati. Don't. it is possible to unsubscribe from a certain WhatsApp number automatically with a certain keyword that you trigger from the template message. So if someone did not want to receive WhatsApp message from your business, then you can give them this option and you can do it automatically. Okay, so let's have 1 or 2 more minutes. Do we have more questions here about the conversation-based pricing? So again, for after this webinar, the presentation will be sent to you. All the links, all the description explainer that will be available in our Hub Center. Okay, and if you have any questions after that, feel free to reach out to us at hello@wati.io. No matter it is related to conversation-based pricing, about the new user interface that you're interested in, or the Google Sheets integration that you may have question about, you can all send to hello@wati.io. All the inquiries will be routed to the corresponding team to assist you on that one. Okay, so thank you so much everyone for joining this webinar. Stay tuned for the next webinar that we'll have in the 20th about education technology and WhatsApp. And for the next month, we'll have other webinar topic as well. So thank you so much for your time. Happy New Year, and I hope all of you stay safe and healthy. And this will come to the end of our webinar. Thank you so much for your time. Goodbye, everyone.